Today's story is featured on the channel after someone emailed asking for help. It's about a woman who is clearly scared and doesn't know what to do, because an entity is stalking her very aggressively at her workplace, which, interestingly, is the University of Buenos Aires. I am
terrified that this will happen again, but I have never seen anything like it. In about half an hour, a girl who works on the 5th floor threw down her keys and left with her hand on her chest, terrified. Well, I fall face down, and that's where I stay, agonizing badly.
I got in touch with her. That's why we have the case on the channel today. I hope you can listen to the story until the end, and if possible, leave her a comment with some advice or some guidance on how to move forward with all of this. Please stay until the end, because after this story, I'll show you a photo of something truly impressive. It has nothing to do with this case, but it's something that's really worth seeing. I'll leave the number down here so you can send me your experiences. And now, let's start with this new paranormal case. In this building, which belongs to a well-known university of the University of Buenos Aires, there isn't just paranormal activity, but there have also been many deaths that might be related to everything that happens inside. I'd like, so as not to harm anyone's work, including my own of course, to leave out the name of the university I'll be talking about. Do a job at this place. And I'm really scared about what's happening, but mainly about what could happen to me in the future. That's why I'm telling this story today. Even though throughout all these years I've heard different stories and found out about a lot of things that are extremely strange, personally nothing this significant had ever happened to me before. I mean, it never went beyond hearing some noise where it was impossible to see, maybe a shadow passing by out of the corner of my eye. Things like this, which are so common, and knowing that many people went through the same thing, you end up normalizing it. And it simply becomes something unimportant. That day, everything changed. Right on May 7th this year, I was working as usual. And I want to highlight something before continuing, which might be important in this story. I was very happy that day because my medical tests had come out excellent. Absolutely everything was fine. They were routine annual checkups. I didn't do it for any particular reason, but it's always good to know that your health is with you. That time, I stayed working after hours since it wasn't practical for me to go home, be there for just a little while, and then have to come back to the university. So I made use of the time with other things and then continued with classes later. Never in my life did I imagine that what you're about to hear would happen to me. I was at my computer in the office eating an yojito, I'll never forget it. And meanwhile I was reviewing the Portuguese course that I've been taking for a few months. And I insist that all the tests and analyses came out perfect, even the hard ones. From one second to the next I felt something very strange. It wasn't pain nor was it dizziness. Actually, it's something almost impossible to explain exactly as it happened, but I think that, to make it understandable, I'm going to represent it like this. I started to feel as if my soul, energy, essence, or whatever you want to call it, was coming off me like a sticker, or maybe as if something was sucking it out of my body. Actually, up until that moment it was just this horrible feeling, so I stood up. I even laughed because inside I thought all my tests came back fine, and now this is happening to me. I couldn't quite understand what I was feeling, and even worse. I turned around, walked just a few steps just to try to distract my mind with something else, and I barely moved a meter forward, and I collapsed in the middle of the office. With a lot of effort, I turned to the side, and what I saw was terrifying. I kept feeling the whole time like my soul was leaving my body. I literally felt like I was dying. But also, to the side of the entrance door, there was a dark shadow like I had never seen before in my entire life. And it was her, exactly who was exerting that force, taking my energy. At that moment, I panicked. I was alone, lying on the floor watching this, and I practically didn't have the strength to move, to get up, and obviously to run away.
Desperate, unable to scream, grab anything, get up, or act. And when I saw that it was dark, that's when I started crawling. My office is big. I crawled until I opened the door. I threw half my body out. I fell again, and half my body from the waist up, let's say. I was left lying in the hallway, and from the waist down I was still in the office. The hallway was completely empty. In the afternoon, I work alone. There are very few people on the entire floor. And well, I started to scream, to call for help. I was never a brave woman, never. I never asked anyone for help, for anything. But this time I started shouting to a co-worker who has an office in front to see if she was there. And well, it was in vain until I collapsed there on the floor, and I was saved because the maintenance people who were just cleaning found me, the cleaning staff found me, and then they helped me get up. They sat me down there, called the occupational doctor, and well, that's it. He came right away. I mean, if it hadn't been for these people, he came by chance because he was near the area since he had already left.
Then I was transferred to the Hospital de Clínicas, where I waited over 2 hours in the waiting room. Obviously, I was scared and had a lot of doubts about what had happened. Until that moment, I thought it was just a health issue, nothing more than that. But maybe I was wrong. And now you'll see why. The doctor who saw me examined me thoroughly. They ran some more tests, and finally, since they found absolutely nothing, they discharged me. I begged them to admit me, please. I was terrified because I didn't like the idea of this happening again. I was alone, but couldn't stay and had to return home. Before leaving, I asked 2 doctors what might have happened. Maybe it was the alfajor, I wasn't sure. But they ruled it out immediately. They leaned more toward it being a stress spike or maybe a panic attack, but they also doubted this. After talking to me, I knew perfectly well that it wasn't that and there was something else, but I still didn't have the answer. To be clear, I wasn't going through any difficulties. Actually, I was happier than ever for many reasons. For this reason, this worried me a lot, and of course that black shadow was engraved in my mind. Was it just a hallucination or was there more? And I say this because coincidentally something I didn't mention before is that the 5th floor of this university is famous among some people because of the deaths that happened there. And because a large part of all the paranormal events are focused in its hallways. In short, I went home, bought something to eat and then went to sleep. The next day, even though I could have taken it easy, I decided to go to work. I wanted to distract myself, talk to co-workers, and most importantly, do something. I wanted to confront what happened by returning to the office to make sure everything was okay. But that day, some details started to connect this whole story. I once spoke with a co-worker I sometimes share things with. Did I not understand it in the end? He tried to attack at the end, he tried to attack Esimoyax. He had an accident I don't think I should detail, but it was quite strange. Because of that, a new question started to arise in me. Was that dark shadow my friend who couldn't move on properly? Or maybe that shadow was the reason he asked for the pass, and why not? Could it have been related to his death? I insist, something was on the 5th floor. There were many deaths over the years, and in every case, the situations were at least confusing. The thing is, days went by and everything was fine. I'm very religious, and I kept praying that it wouldn't happen again. I focused all my intention on making sure nothing got out of control, and if there was something bad, I just wanted it to move on and leave me in peace. And apparently it didn't work, because on June 13th, everything turned upside down. Once again, I had stayed late to finish some work, and interestingly, at the same time as before, I started to feel something strange. Then it happened again right after. I see and feel how this dark silhouette was sucking my energy, but I also felt as if it wanted to get inside me. I hope that's clear. And I felt like I was slowly fading away. It was a horrible feeling. So with all my strength, and I guess thanks to the adrenaline from the fear, I stood up and as best as I could tried to get out of the office. I managed to get out, but I collapsed right there in the hallway, ended up on my back and didn't know how to escape. And honestly, I don't know how much time passed, whether it was 2 minutes or 30, but what I do know is that during one of the rounds, the security guard helped me out of the 5th floor. Funny thing was, meanwhile he asked what happened and mentioned a few other things.
And he told me Look, these things happen after everyone leaves. All kinds of things happen, Mariana. All kinds of things happen. In fact, the 5th floor is the worst. Even I find it hard to go up there. What happens is, I don't understand this because it was very violent. He tells me, yes, what happens is that this guy wasn't well. He left with a lot of anger. And that's the only explanation I can find. It's like a horror movie, Andres. I always watch horror movies and I laugh so much because I say this is such an exaggeration. It can't be that an entity enters a body in such an obvious, so aggressive way. And well, that's it. It's like he's so desperate in that limbo that he wants it at all costs. He's really scared. That's my theory. And this one, he wants to lose himself, to learn from us, from the people who truly appreciate him, really, because...
From that moment on, I never stayed after hours again. It scares me that this could happen again because I'm afraid for my life. Something important is that after my time at the Hospital de Clínicas, I had many more complex tests done, from MRIs to things specifically related to the brain. Everything came out perfect. There's nothing that indicates, at least medically, that this is due to a health problem. So what happened, or what's going on? And something also happened that at least gave me peace of mind that I'm not crazy. Recently, just one coworker mentioned the same thing happened to him. In another office, but during the same shift, and also, interestingly, on the 5th floor, he had to be assisted and also by medical recommendation. He is undergoing tests, I imagine the same or similar to mine, and although I don't know the results, I imagine everything will be fine. And I think most of you will agree that it's quite a coincidence for two people to go through the same thing, especially without talking to each other. Because this guy didn't know absolutely anything about what had happened to me. And before I finish, I don't want to forget that there's an issue with the temperatures on this floor, and everyone who works there feels the same way.
One thing that really worries me is that ever since all this started, there's been a terrible temperature mess. Suddenly it's so hot that it's just unbearable. And I can't believe it because suddenly, just a few minutes later, I get so cold, freezing in such a way that I have to run to the heater. The temperature change I feel in my body is very sudden. Look, Andres, I had all kinds of tests done, every type and kind. I'm fine, but well, it just happened to me. And honestly, I'm surprised because with all the knowledge I have, this time I need someone else to help me. It's like I can't do it myself. Now the fear has gone away a little. I'm here, I'm strong. Let's hope this week there isn't a third time because nothing happened. In fact, I can't believe what happened. I can't believe something like this could happen. I was also doing a bit of research because I'm very analytical. I'm also very skeptical. Until I have proof of things, it's like I don't believe them. Throughout my life, I've been through some tough things. And after some time passes, I discredit them. This is the first time I don't want to discredit it. It's an incredible thing. I was investigating, observing things, and it seems that a portal has opened that unleashes all these events. People who are more spiritually developed, it's like we're going to have to prepare ourselves for these kinds of things. I never thought it would be this intense. And people who have no idea what's going on are gonna have a lot of lucid dreams and confusing things. Let's say they don't have much explanation. I'm also like that. And what's going to happen with all this? The one who works in the office next door, I know his family. We have kind of a friendship. He always comes by for a little while to have a coffee with me. I started to notice him looking really anxious, kind of different. And during the conversation, he told me that he felt there were very dark energies where we work, that he felt them more and more, and that he had been having very intense dreams. I attributed it to stress because they work in several places, they never stop. And I kind of minimized it. I dismissed it quite a bit. I tried to cheer him up until it ended up happening to me. But he had been telling me this a couple of months before, and I thought it was just his imagination. It can't really be like that. There are very strong energies here, very dark ones, and well, now I have no doubt at all that it's true. And to wrap things up, I would also like to tell everyone that we shouldn't let our guard down, that we always need to be protected, because until it happens to us personally, it's like we just can't understand it. When someone comes and tells us certain things, it's like our mind to the horror. But well, unfortunately, these things are, first of all, very difficult to share and very hard for the other person to truly understand the magnitude of what happened.
Thank you for staying until the end. As I said earlier, I'll show you a photo of something truly impressive. We don't know much about her. Someone who is actually a relative of the person in this image sent it to me, and you can clearly see something strange. You can see another person who shouldn't be there, and based on her features and appearance, she would be the mother of the person who is actually in this photograph. I'd like to know what you think, because honestly, it's something really creepy. Friends, I'll see you in a few days, and now I'm sending a big hug to all of you.